Welcome to Idaho Media Showcase. At Idaho Media Showcase, we explore all facets of media production throughout our beautiful state of Idaho.
Good evening and welcome to Idaho Media Showcase. My name is Lance Thompson and I'm your host. For those of you who might be missing something as we go through the show or have to get up and make a sandwich or there's an air raid, will be rebroadcast on Monday morning at 9 a.m. Our guest tonight is Laura Melhaff. She's a film producer, film director, and coordinator of the Sun Valley Film Festival, which is coming up on from March 15th to March 18th this year, very shortly. Laura, welcome to Idaho Media Showcase.
Thank you for having me.
Now, tell me, but this is the first year for the Sun Valley Film Festival, the official Sun Valley Film Festival. How did that come about?
It is. Well, there's been a couple of smaller festivals that have been in the area, and a few smaller festivals that actually still exist that are more kind of have a niche as far as the content that they're showing. So it was started by Dana Plassey and a gentleman named Teddy Grennan. And they both have connections to Sun Valley and have lived there for some time, and just saw an opportunity. They both are, into independent film and just really love the arts and wanted to support it, and felt like Sun Valley was a great community to help support that, and being a destination kind of town, it also fits the bill for a lot of other festivals that have done well as far as not only supporting independent film, but just being a great time,
Sure.
being a great getaway and chance to see some really great independent filmmaking. So they really wanted to create a film festival that specialized, or that's focus rather, was on the filmmaker. And obviously you don't have a film without the actors and without bigger names and support from big people, but they really want to keep the focus on the people that create film from its first initial creative spark, the writers, the filmmakers, the people that bring it all together and make it happen. So that's their vision for the festival, and I think they've chosen great films for their lineup, and we're really excited for this first inaugural year.
Very good. Well, congratulations. And we should make it clear that three films that you were involved with are in the festival, but that didn't happen. Those
Right.
were chosen before you became coordinator of the festival.
Yes.
Okay.
I did
Now,
not choose my own films.
yeah. But that's quite an honor, because you have how many different kinds of films showing? You have.
It's somewhere around 60. I mean,
60.
and that includes feature-length docs and narrative films, as well as short docs and short films. And we actually have a lot of children's programming as well,
Oh, great.
particularly on Saturday. We have 3 different sessions of free children's programming just for the community. Part of our wanting to involve the community and show them, that we would love to have their involvement and to make film accessible to everyone. So.
Are you getting a lot of support from the Sun Valley area, the community?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I think so. I mean, and really the festival kind of came together so very quickly that a lot of people are still kind of catching up and getting the information. But yeah, people have been absolutely on board for the most part, and really excited about making it happen. And we just opened our box office up in Sun Valley just a couple of days ago, and we've already had a lot of people coming in, and tickets are also available online. But yeah, people have enjoyed coming in and seeing our headquarters and just finding more out about the festival. So.
And if people want to get tickets, what is that? You have a website?
Yes, it's sunvalleyfilmfestival.org.
Okay.
And on there, I mean, there's schedules for all the films. There's, also a list of events. We have some really great events and parties that will hopefully be a lot of fun. And there's information about different awards that are going to be given out for the festival. and of course you can buy tickets.
And one of the awards, it was called the 1 in a Million Award.
Yes.
What is that about?
There's the 1 in a Million Award. Basically, was created to help honor low budget independent films. So basically, the main criterion for that award is that your film was made with a budget less than $1 million. So just kind of giving props to the little guy, who can, it's. Judges are looking for ingenuity as far as production value based, keeping in mind the fact that it had such a low budget, and also just the quality of story. I mean, you can tell a great story whether you have a huge budget or not. So that's the focus of that award.
Very good. Well, let's talk about some the films that you're involved with that are going to be showing at the festival. The one's called First Circle, and that's a documentary.
Correct.
What is that about?
Yes. It's a documentary whose broad topic is basically methamphetamine and the foster care system, and how those two are directly correlated. Considering the rise of methamphetamines in the Northwest, it directly relates to the rise in the need for foster parents in the Northwest. And it's just an epidemic, really, that's just growing faster than systems can keep up to make sure that these children are being taken care of. So the documentary follows several different sides and aspects of this one very large topic. One of which is a sheriff who's responsible for actually declaring a child as being in imminent danger and having to remove them from the homes. And a family of recovering addicts who have finally gotten their children back after they had been in the state system for so many years. And then also another couple who's currently going through the process of having their children taken away because of their substance abuse. So yeah, it looks at a couple of different angles of that broad topic, and I think kind of explores it in a way that hasn't necessarily been done before. There's many documentaries that have covered meth and foster care, and some of them both at the same time. But yeah, I think that a lot of people really appreciated the way that we really let people tell their own story, and weren't really saying who was right and who was wrong, but this is what they have to say about their own lives and them, being in this particular situation. So
sounds like a very emotional, controversial topic.
Yes.
And now, has it been seen anywhere before the Sun Valley?
Yes, it has. Actually, we premiered at Woodstock Film Festival in New York, and then shortly thereafter, we made a deal with Showtime. So it had its, television premiere on Showtime, and they actually have been showing it ever since. I think they have a year-long contract. So yeah, showing it there every once in a while.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, and then there's also a narrative feature called Magic Valley.
Yes.
that was also shot here in Idaho.
Correct.
Can you tell us about that?
Well, Magic Valley was written and directed by Jeffson, who is a Buell native. He was born and raised in Buell, Idaho, and he's a very creative and artistic guy, and really looks at life and just even almost the mundane, the everyday simple things in life, and just has such a great and unique vision of the everyday. And so he's an amazing storyteller, because on the surface it may look like it is just an average, ordinary day, but he manages to kind of peel back all these layers and force you almost to look at it in a light that you possibly would not have done so before. So anyway, he takes that approach in the story Magic Valley, where it is following several characters over one day in Buell. And throughout the film, you kind of slowly are peeling back these layers and finding out how these people are, perhaps related or not throughout the film. And also taking a look at how an absolutely average and ordinary day can all of a sudden become extraordinary, whether in a good way or bad. So yeah, it's a beautiful film, and Buell is a stunning backdrop, really. I had not spent time there before we shot there, and now I really, really enjoy it. I like going to road trips there and driving through the town because it's beautiful.
You found another destination, and people who see the film will also do as well.
Yes.
And you used a lot of Idaho people in your cast and crew on that. How did that work out?
Well, I think it was about 6 of the kind of principal acting, because again, it is a multiple person narrative. So it follows several different people, and I think about 6 of the larger roles we had brought in, from larger casting sessions in LA and New York and whatnot. But several of our roles, I think about 24 speaking roles were cast locally. And a couple of them were, absolutely main characters. We had 2 little kids who had never acted before in their life, and they do an amazing job. And they were cast from Blackfoot and from Boise. So we did casting sessions both in Boise and Twin Falls, and had talent from kind of all corners of the state come, and we were really surprised by how many options we had. Like, we had really tough calls because there was so much talent and so many options. So Idaho was a perfect place to film this movie.
Outstanding. Well, that's always good to hear. We want to get that word out.
Yeah.
And then you had the third film is the Bricklin Brothers Beat the Best.
Correct.
And that's also a fictional narrative.
Yes,
Okay.
yes it is. And we shot that in Baltimore, Maryland. And it was written by a friend of mine named Ryan Onan, written and directed, and he also acts in it. And Ryan Onan, I'd worked with him on a film previously, along with Heather Ray, who's a film producer who has Idaho roots. But he is one of those people who's just talented in so many ways across the board that you almost don't want to like him, because it's like, this isn't fair. But he's an amazing musician. And so essentially the story is about these 2 musicians who are, in their early 30s and trying to figure out whether they're going to give up on their dreams of being, famous musicians, or not even necessarily famous, but just being able to sustain a life where they get to, do their passion, which is to play music. So kind of haphazardly and last minute, they go on this road trip to do their own tour, book their own tour across the U.S., and don't really know the business of it and don't know what they're doing, but managed to make it work and collect a lot of good stories and adventures along the way. And Ryan Onan, again, the writer-director, he wrote so much of I think almost all of the music, with the exception of maybe one song, wrote all this music, and they performed it live. And a lot of times in movies, it's you always record the songs after and lay them over. But all of it was recorded live.
Wow.
Which is quite a feat. We had an amazing sound team, and I love the music. I really love the music, and I haven't had the chance of seeing that film in completion yet. So I'm really excited for when it premieres. It's actually going to be the opening night film for the Sun Valley Film Festival, which is March 15th, a Thursday. So I'm really excited to see that film, because I haven't had a chance to see it yet.
Yeah, and the live music, live on film music is really a rarity.
Yes.
Now, as a producer, you've done both documentary and narrative. What's the difference for that role for you between those 2 kinds of movies?
Well, really producing, whether it's narrative or documentary, for me is different on every single film, because it depends on so many factors, including the size of your budget, the size of your crew, how many, if you have other people who are also producing, part of that producing team. Basically, depends on how much of that pie of work is cut up amongst how many people, basically. Sure. But for documentaries, so much of it has to be more organic. Like in a feature, a narrative feature, it's about having everything planned beforehand. If you've done well as a producer, then it's, once you actually start filming, hopefully most of it is just putting out fires, and making sure that everything is going well. If you've done it right, you should be able to have done, take care of most of it and set everything up beforehand. But documentaries, it's about being in the moment and figuring out, exactly, at what point of the story you are in that documentary, and also figuring out how to react in the moment, because you don't know what's going to happen next. And documentaries, of course, just logistically can be shot over several years, and a lot of, features are as compact as you can make them. It's madness within certain days, and documentaries can take, a really long time to unfold. So it's a very, very different process. And I enjoy both, but I definitely love the mad, intense feeling of features and going for about a month and a half with no sleep and too much Red Bull and all of that. It's fun.
So it's an entirely different lifestyle that way.
Yes.
Now, you're from Idaho originally, or?
I am, yes, born and raised in Boise, and I've traveled a lot for work and for other things, other adventures. But yeah, I always come back here in between and still consider this my home base. So, and I hope I will always be able to consider it my home base. I love Boise and I love Idaho. So.
And how did you get into filmmaking? What drew you to that, or what was the fascination?
Well, I think I really have always enjoyed movies, as most people do, it seems. But I really was from an early age interested in the behind the scenes kind of aspect. And this may be dating myself, but when I first was really into filmmaking, there wasn't all these DVDs with behind the scenes features and stuff like that. It was really hard to find easy access to information and video as far as how the process of filmmaking, not just the film itself. But I had one of my uncles who lived in LA and was in advertising. He did advertising for a couple of television shows and studios, one of which was the CW. I don't remember if that's what it's called right now or not. But anyway, he got me on the behind the scenes of this television show that's no longer on called Seventh Heaven. Yeah. And I was in the 7th grade and it was this whole new world where I just saw massive amounts of people and props and chaos that all went in to creating this one small, maybe 2-minute scene, and it took this army of people to get it just right. And I found that so fascinating, so exciting, and there was such an amazing energy that experience definitely stuck with me. And then years later, when I was in college and I was going to Boise State, was taking video classes, and I just realized I had to pursue getting experience on a real set, no matter what it took. So I was able to find an internship in LA, went down there, interned and worked for months for free, and then came back to Boise and took a class from Heather Ray, who at the time was doing a class as an adjunct professor. And I literally didn't speak with Heather once the entire class. I was just one of those students sitting in the back taking notes. But at the end, she said that she was looking for interns for a film she was going to be doing. So I signed up, and because I had had at least a little bit of experience before, I, for the most part, knew how to fill the role that they were looking for as far as an intern goes. And we got along splendidly, and they ended up hiring me for their production company, which was based here in Boise. And she's now in LA, but I've worked on, I don't know, I think 6 or 7 films with her since.
The first one you worked on was Ibid, or
Ibid,
okay.
Yes, which was another film that we shot here in Boise. So
very good.
Yeah.
Well, so do you think, are we going to have, I mean, from what you're very experienced in film of all kinds. Do you think we're going to have more filmmakers either coming from here or coming to here to film? Or I mean, what's the state of our industry in Idaho?
It's hard for me to say because so much of the film I do is not based in Idaho, sadly. I mean, I've done 2 documentaries here and 2 features here, and those have been some of the best experiences that I've had, really. But I think, obviously there's the whole incentive issue with Idaho filmmaking, which continues to be an issue as far as bringing outside films here and larger budget projects. But as far as the creativity that can come out of Idaho, I'm not worried at all. I mean, there's so much talent here, and really so much room for innovative people. I mean, it's like, I think, yeah, we're struggling to get tax incentives, so I think that should just be even more motivation for us to be creative and to create things that are unusual or that haven't been seen before, or find our own way. I mean, if we're not going to get tax incentives to help us bring big projects out here, let's create our own system and make something. And I think there's so many people with talent and creativity. We just got to all, I think, come together and try to figure something like that out. But yeah, I'm not worried about the state of creation as far as Idaho filmmaking goes. I think there's plenty of people here who are continually creating stuff, and it's building every year, and we're getting access to more equipment and to more people who have experience and know what they're doing, and yeah, I think it's think it's going to take off.
Well, and this certainly the Sun Valley Film Festival is going to be part of that. I just wanted to show people the poster because they'll probably be seeing it all over the place. You got some terrific sponsors here.
Yes.
Lionsgate Films, St. Luke's, Alaska Airlines, Zions Bank. Were they all pretty enthusiastic about that?
Yes, yes. I mean, you know, and different people who've been associated with the festival have helped bring in different sponsors. But really, I think that the time was just kind of ripe for a festival like this, you know, and for this area. And all of these sponsors in one way or another, you know, are helping us build this festival. And every single sponsor that we have has been supportive and excited about it and helped us build this thing from the ground up. So yeah, and they're helping us build not just for this year, but to create something that's going to be going on for years.
Very good. And then you've got, this is the program, and you've got over 60 different films inside in here, and descriptions of them.
Yes, which is also on the website, actually. All the information as far as schedule and ticketing and also synopsis for films, that's all on our website, which is sunvalleyfilmfestival.org.
Okay, so and then what does it cost to go? I mean, do you get is there a ticket that lets you into everything?
Yes, there are different passes. Actually, some of the passes we have kind of sold out of, and they're no longer on the website. But there are a few different passes. There's a VIP pass, which is $250, and it gets you to all events and all the films you would want to see. And then there's individual tickets if you just want to see one specific film or a couple of specific films and not purchase a pass. Then you can do that online, and those are $10.
Very good. So, and evidently you said that you know some of the passes are already sold out. So, has the response surprised you?
Yes, actually, you know, and especially because this is our first year, and there's a lot of figuring out what works for this area. You know, there's no formula already set in place for us, so it's a lot of discovery and kind of, you know, playing it day by day and seeing what the response is and what's working best. So we've been trying to be, you know, moldable in that way and just figure out what's going to connect us with the community the most and you know, what the community is most interested in as far as viewing. So, but yeah, it has been surprising because within, you know, I think a day and a half, Magic Valley was practically sold out. So there's certain areas where the information is just definitely spreading very quickly.
There's a lot. Every film that you have in here there's pictures, there are documentaries. It looks like Die Another Day. I don't know which ones they're telling me to show one of them.
That was the Die Another Day one. Oh, Soda Springs is an Idaho film.
Oh, very good.
It's got a lot of Idaho cast and crew. So is Lost River.
We seem to have a river theme going in a lot of
yeah. We've got several Idaho films actually. That's really great, and the one, the Die Another Day, I think it was called, or Another Way to Die, excuse me. Yeah, it's actually in the children's program, which we have a couple of different programs on Saturday, and it's free to the public. Basically, anyone can come. It's kind of our thank you to the community, and also a way to welcome the community and to show that we have you know, things for the whole family as well. So that was a short film that was made in Idaho and made by a first-time filmmaker up in Sun Valley, and him and a bunch of his kids and his kids' friends, and it's an amazing short film. It's just a little under an hour, and it's really a lot of fun. So anyway, I'm excited about the children's programming.
Very good. So television, documentaries, narrative films. What other kind of events will you have? Do we have Q&As or people meeting? You said parties.
Yes, we have several Q&As actually. On the website, there's a downloadable schedule, and on that schedule, anytime you see Q&A at the bottom of the film block, that means that there's a representative from one of the films at least who's going to be there, and there'll be a Q&A time, you know, just after the film. So any questions you have about the film itself or about the process, you should be able to have a chance to, you know, explore that with them. And another thing I'd love to mention is something that we're doing called Coffee Talks, which is going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday mornings from 9 to 10. And each coffee talk session is going to feature a different filmmaker, and it's free to the public. Anyone's welcome to come. And I'm really excited about those because we have some amazing people. Heather Ray and producer Jason Berman. Jason Berman was the producer of Bricklin Brothers Beat the Best. They're going to do a session, and they're going to be talking about their experiences with independent film, and they'll speak for a while, and then it'll be open to the crowd to ask whatever questions. So it's a very intimate and personal chance to get to speak with some amazing filmmakers. And then I believe on Saturday, there's I think the president of National Geographic Films is going to be there to talk about his role and his experiences. And then on Sunday, we have Jack Sullivan, who's the CEO of Broadcast Video, who does Saturday Night Live. It was started by Lorne Michaels, who started Saturday Night Live. So we've got some really amazing, filmmakers and people who are very well connected coming in, in our first year. So it's going to be a really good learning experience for anyone who goes.
So it's not just for people involved in film, it's people who like film, people who watch movies, just anybody will have a good time. They're asking me to show this. Star Waiters is a project that we made here in Boise.
Yes, it is.
Academy Award-winning documentary filmmaker Ben Shedd is part. How did this come to the show?
Well, it's a part of our free kids programming, and really, obviously, it's a great story behind the whole thing. And being, Make-A-Wish is the sponsor of that film, and it really had a sense of community as far as Boise's concerned to even make that happen. It had zero budget. And it was really an effort of people who wanted to make this, child's wish come true. And he's going to be there. Mitch, I believe is his name, Mitch Kohler, and Make-A-Wish. They'll be up there for this screening. So again, it was part of our just really wanting to support Idaho film and to make it more of a community event and a community gathering. So that as well as, free and open to the public, part of our kids programming, and we're really excited to be showing it.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a big hit, and amazing that you could put all that together the first time and have this kind of response.
Yes.
So those of you watching at home, please get to sunvalleyfilmfestival.org for tickets and information. And it's going to be great. Parties and coffee conversations and great movies and television and something for the whole family. So. Laura, thank you very much for coming, and congratulations on all the films that are going to be there. And you've been to TVC TV before in a number of capacities.
Yes, I was took the class when I was at Boise State, and also was the TA for a couple of semesters for the TV class. So.
Well, we always have terrific BSU crews here, so that's what keeps us on the air.
Yeah.
And thanks for coming out for this. And you have an event tomorrow here in Boise, or?
No. I
No.
think so.
You came down just for us. We're gratified.
Oh no, yeah.
Thank you very much. This is Lance Thompson for Idaho Media Showcase. Thanks for watching. Remember, rebroadcast Monday morning at 9 a.m. And you can always find us right here on TVC TV. Thank you.